Okay, this is a good story because this is the one where Loki actually winds up starting to be not so nice anymore. Um, and you'll see why. So anyway, one day he decided it would be really funny to sneak into Sif's bedroom at night. Sif is Thor's wife. Sneak into her bedroom at night because she has this beautiful, beautiful blonde hair. And he thought it would be really funny for some reason to sneak in and chop it all off. So he does, and she doesn't wake up, and nobody catches him. And Thor was in there too, and he doesn't wake up either. But the next morning they wake up, she's bald and she's hysterical because the gods and goddesses are very vain, and Thor is furious because not only is all his wife's hair cut off and she's upset, but he's kind of humiliated that somebody was able to sneak into his room and do that without him even waking up. And this winds up being a flaw in most of Loki's plans, is that nobody caught him, but they also know that no one could have done it except for him, because he's the only one who could sneak in like that and without anybody knowing. So it's not much of a question. Thor catches him, and he's about to pummel him to death, and he gives him the ultimatum, hey, I'm gonna kill you, or else, or you have to fix Sif's hair, because she's freaking out. So, Loki's like, okay, I'll fix it, don't worry, it's not a big deal, it was just a joke. So off he goes, to a little cave where some dwarves live. And they're really good craftsmen. What are their names? Dwarves have really bizarre names. I don't think these ones even have names in the book. They're just the sons of Ivaldi. So he goes to them and he's like, hey, please make Sif some new hair. And they're like, well, what's in it for us? He said, well, all the gods are going to be really thankful, and anytime you need favor, or the next time you need a favor, you can come to me and I'll do it. So they know that he's just promising them stuff and not really giving them anything, but it's really not that difficult a task for them to make the hair, and they know that the favor of the gods is something that's pretty valuable. So they're like, alright, we'll do it. So they start making the hair, and it's beautiful. But they've got this big blaze going, and they make it out of gold, actual gold, and it's beautiful. But they've got this big blaze going, and they're like, well, it would kind of be a waste for us to not do anything with this. So they also make a ship, and they make a they make the spear. So they give the things to Loki, and they're all very impressive. And he decides that, maybe he can get some more out of this. So he goes to, he takes the 3 things, and then he goes to another couple of dwarves named Eitri and Brock. And Eitri is this amazing craftsman. Brock is his brother, who pumps the bellows for him. So he shows him Loki shows them the gifts that he got from the other dwarves, and he's like, wow, look at these things, aren't these amazing? Like, I've never seen craftsmanship like this before from anyone. It's fantastic. And the dwarves are like, well, we can make things that are better than that. And he's like, I don't believe you. I would bet my head that you guys can't make anything that compares to these things. And the dwarves are like, yes we can. You just sit out in this, in the little waiting room or whatever. And they send him down there and they give him, a cup of meat or whatever, and they just tell him to wait. So they start making their own things. And Eitri tells his brother Brock, he's like, just keep pumping the bellows, don't stop for even a second, or the fire's going to be ruined and everything's not going to turn out as well as we need it to. So Brock starts pumping the bellows, and Eitri starts making things. And the first thing he makes is a boar. It's alive somehow. But it's a boar, and it's made of gold, and it's beautiful and everything. So then he goes off to get some more materials, and he tells Brock to keep pumping the bellows no matter what. And Loki knows that he's got a lot riding on this, because he just bet them his head that their stuff is not going to be as good. So he turns into a little bee, and he comes flying in and stings Brock a couple times in the neck. And Brock winces because it hurts, but he doesn't stop. He just keeps pumping and pumping and pumping. And so the bee comes again and stings him somewhere else. I don't remember where. But he stings him again, and it hurts more, like I think in his arm or something, and it hurts. But he doesn't take his hand off the bellows, he just keeps going. And Eitri comes back and starts forging something else. And this time, what does he make? I forget. Oh, this time he makes a ring. And I'll tell you why all this stuff is special in a minute, once they actually get back to Asgard. But anyway, he makes this ring. And it's really nice and does cool stuff too. So he makes a ring, and then he goes off to get more materials again, and he tells Brock, don't stop pumping or else everything's going to be ruined. So, 'cause he had thrown a big piece of iron in the fire, and he's like, you need to keep it going no matter what. So he goes off to get more stuff, and Brock's pumping the thing, and the little bee comes back and stings him on both of his eyelids. And they start kind of bleeding a little bit, and Brock can't see. He's blind now because of the blood in his eyes. And so for just 1 second, he takes one of his hands off and wipes his eyes to get the blood out and to get the bee away, and then keeps right going again. But there was just that split second where, the fire got a little bit more air, and it was a little off, but not too bad. So Loki's satisfied. He goes back to the lobby and turns back in him and just sits there drinking his mead and waiting for them to be done. So Eitri comes back, and he sees the fire, and he knows something was a little off, and he's like, well, okay, I think it's still going to be fine. And that time, he makes the hammer. So when they're finished, they take the gifts out to Loki, and they give them to him, and Eitri tells Brock, he says, go to Asgard with him and claim our prize once the gods decide that ours are better, because he's quite confident that his gifts are better. Loki's slightly concerned because they are pretty amazing. But he knows that there was that one flaw, so he goes back with Brock to Asgard. And I'm running out of seconds, so pick this up in another video.